Hi guys, I am doing my video about the bloating issue update. As you know, I've been doing a lot more tests. For those of you who are new and never heard about this, I've been trying to figure out what is wrong with my stomach, my gut, and bloating situation for the last 2 years. And I think I finally nailed it, which is kind of like I have a lot of mixed feelings. So I'll talk to you about today what I found out. So I've done a SIBO test in London, and I've done a microbiome test, a full-on microbiome test. Both of these tests were super expensive, but I was like, you know what, I can't seem to figure out what is wrong, so I'm just gonna go for it. So I decided to do that. Now, if any of you want to know, because I know a lot of you ask me where I got these tests, just let me know in comments and I will maybe put it in a link. But like I said, they are very expensive. I only did it because I was like, I really need to figure out what is going on. And then I also, and the SIBO test is quite complicated. You have to do it over 3 hours. You have to fast the day before, and you have to like blow into this tube every like 20 minutes. It's pretty intense. And then the microbiome test is basically taking sample of your poo, and then you have to ship it within a certain amount of hours so it doesn't die, because this is something that was new to me, because I've done a lot of stool tests before, but apparently you only have 3 hour window before the stool gets destroyed, or let's say it's not valid anymore if it's not in the right packaging. Anyway, a lot of rules here and there, so just always listen to your practitioners. And then I came to Latvia, and I contacted another nutritionist that I saw that she's been talking a lot about food, and she started doing the blood work. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do another consultation with her. And then she sent me to do more blood work and another stool sample. So essentially I had that and this. And then I have still, at this current moment, I still have endoscopy and colonoscopy booked, consultation with gastrologist. And I was going to do an ultrasound and what's called like an x-ray again of my stomach. But now I'm thinking I don't really need to see gastrologist or do the endoscopy and colonoscopy. Both of these procedures are very invasive. And now that I kind of think I know what is wrong with me, because 2 of different tests in different countries have confirmed, which just makes it a bit more clear to me. Now, I guess the bad news is that there's a lot of things that I need to fix. And the good news is at least I think I know now what it could potentially be. Now, again, I don't want to get too excited and hyped up, because, previously I thought it could be this and then it wasn't. But I feel like now this is really it. So at the moment I'm in a fasting clinic. I'm doing a 10-day fast if they let me, because it just depends on how long I can do this fast for. I'm monitored every day with the doctors and in a special clinic place. And so my plan is to do the 10-day fast, then get onto the anti-parasite cleanse, because I suspected that I might have parasites that haven't been really discovered. And now getting these 2 tests back, I actually do have bloody parasites. Now, finally, they've been detected by 2 different tests, different countries, like I said. And I know a lot of you want to know what these are, so you could maybe check for them yourself. Now, so the parasite is called Blastocystis hominis. God, this name is really weird. There are different types of them, apparently. And not all of them need addressing, but given the fact that I've had bloating, abdominal pain, and it's very, very similar to IBS, I definitely think this is what it is. And not only this was discovered in my microbiome test, it was also discovered in Latvia. They also found another parasite, well, actually 2 other parasites. I might post the names, but I don't know if it helps to anyone, sorry, not so there's 2 parasites that I found. So that just confirms to everyone. So if you're struggling with bloating and you've been to Asia or you've been to third world countries where there is poor like water and food hygiene and things like that, you're more likely to have parasite, especially if you've gotten bloating or pains afterwards. And the worst part is that I have actually been testing for this. I've tested my stool several times in different countries, and none of them told me that I have these parasites. Now, there's two outcomes. Either they didn't test for these specific parasites, or there's so many parasites that impossible to test. The doctors don't test you for all the parasites. They only test you maximum for 25 parasites, maybe 20. So what it means is that, there's 250, 300 parasites, which can still be living and causing you discomfort and bloating and pain, especially that one. I feel like I've seen it before because, I also watch YouTube videos. I watched a lot of people trying to figure out how to figure out my bloat, once you're dealing with it for so long, it gets frustrating. So I've ordered this anti-parasite cleanse that was recommended to me by one of my good friends. Again, this was a total accident. She came to Mexico and she was staying in this hotel, and then she overheard the conversation of this wife and a husband talking how her husband has been suffering for about 2 years with the bloat and pain. So she told her about me, and they got talking, and she said that the only thing that helped him was this anti-parasite cleanse that he did, and he healed completely. So then she got the contact for me. I got the contact. I called the people. They're based in America. I have ordered the anti-parasite cleanse actually a month ago now. But the reason why I didn't start it sooner is because you do have to follow more or less like a healthier diet. And because I was filming and eating cake every day with sugar, it's not really going to be, there's no point starting an anti-parasite cleanse if you're not really following a healthy regime. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to go do my fasting. Then I start my anti-parasite cleanse. Now I'm starting that for 3 months. The protocol is 3 to 6 months, but now I'm 100% sure that whatever I have, it will get rid of it. It will get destroyed. And, I'm getting a little bit excited that maybe potentially that's it. My bloat's going to go away as well. So I feel that issue that I found out is going to be solvable, and that's a good thing. Now in my microbiome test, they also found that I have actually a good microbiome diversity. And if you guys don't know much about your microbiome, it's really good. I think it's good to do the test anyway, because we're not aware of our, good and bad bacteria. Now, everything I've been, I feel like a detective. Even now, I feel like a detective. And now all the pieces are coming together. It's actually really crazy in a way, because it's taken me 2 years to figure this out. But basically, now I've got the final, let's say, report conclusion. I've taken antibiotics prior to my bloating and pain 2 years, because I was fixing my teeth. I still have 2 more teeth to fix, and also I have black fillings. Now, a lot of you might not think anything of... Sorry, guys. Dropped you on my laptop. A lot of you might not think a lot about the black fillings, and they're not very common in a lot of countries, but they're definitely common in Soviet Union countries. Now, I didn't have a very good dental, works done, let's say, when I was younger, because we were really poor, and my mom took me to the free dentistry. And in fact, they actually experimented on kids, because I really remember it was like practicing. That's why it was free, and it was a government sort of scheme. And actually a lot of children, including my sister and a lot of people I know personally from Latvia, I think it was the same in the Baltics and all post-Soviet countries. They never gave us any anesthesia. They never gave us anything. It was like literally drilling pure with nothing. No pain relief, nothing. And I remember clearly, it scarred me for life. Like, I hate a dentist, and a lot of kids do anyway, but this was like intense, this was like, and if you cried, they would shout at you like, wow, how dare you cry. And so a lot of my fillings actually are black, which is mercury, which I've again just recently discovered that apparently that can be very poisonous to your body and to your gut, because if you think about it, when we eat, we chew things, and a bit of mercury can be mixed together, and then, it can go into your digestive tract. Now, I'm not saying that's why I have the bloating. Again, I have many different versions, and I think all of the combination of everything makes now sense. Like I told you, I'm a detective. I figured it out, I hope anyway. So if you do have any black fillings, it is recommended to just get them removed because they're not that good for you. So I'm actually scheduled in 2 weeks to go to the dentistry. I still have 4 or 5 black fillings in my mouth, and I need to put 2 more implants. What I was trying to say is that back in the day, my teeth got completely ruined because it was an experimental, experimenting on children back in the day on fixing the teeth. They've actually put a lot of infection into my mouth. And so I've struggled with my teeth for forever, like since I know I'm 33 now, you know, I've struggled with my teeth for so long. And yeah, my teeth, you know, when I smile, you know, everyone says that my teeth are perfect, which they are on the outside. I never wore brackets or anything like that, but inside I don't have perfect teeth. Like I said, they've had a lot of infection that they've put in, and I've had several cases of operations, cutting through my gum, getting rid of the infection, like, you know, infection in my gums and everything. It's honestly, it's been a nightmare with my teeth, and they kept breaking because they were infected. So I've had antibiotics over the last 3 years, every 6 months, because I had to fix my teeth. Every time they would, you know, the teeth would break, they would, you know, put an implant in, or they would fix it, and I had to go on antibiotics so there's no more infection going into my mouth. So I think a combination of these antibiotics over the 3 years really messed up, obviously, my gut, which at that time I didn't know. And also at that time, nobody told me to take probiotics. Now, if you go to the dentistry and you do need to take antibiotics, they actually suggest that you also take probiotics. And if you didn't know that, then I'm telling you now, do that. Otherwise, you're going to mess up your gut. So that's one part of it. The second part, you know, I've been to Asia in the last 4 years, and I've lived about 2 months in Asia every single time. So I lived in Thailand, then I lived in Malaysia and Bali. I lived also, like, traveled, let's say, in Philippines, and in every single country, every time I went to any of these countries, I had food poisoning or water poisoning, and I usually ended up in hospital. And they've given me some sort of antibiotics, some sort of pills, you know, to help, you know, vomiting and diarrhea or whatever it was. I can't remember anymore. And so obviously now looking back at it, it's like, oh my God, like I must have messed up my gut even more. Imagine taking so many antibiotics for your teeth, then taking on top some random antibiotics in every single country. And I think what happened in Bali was my last trip, which was 2 years ago, exactly when my issues have started. I really like messed it all up, you know. In fact, like I was sick for about 2 weeks, and 1 week was really bad. I had a really strong temperature, and they actually thought that I have a dengue fever, which is when a mosquito bites you and actually can be fatal. Some people, if it bites you twice, you can die. So it actually was very serious. So generally I thought, I was like, that's it, I'm gone. Because, you know, I had the fever, I was sweating, my stomach was hurting, I was inflamed. And when I went to the hospital, they said that my immune system was shutting down, that my own immune cells were attacking my body. I didn't have the dengue fever, which I guess was good. But they did say that it was very dangerous, that my immune system was shutting down. And they also tested me for salmonella and some other, you know, common, I guess, malaria, whatever. I didn't have any of them. But they put me on a very strong, intensive boost of my immune system, and then very strong, I guess, antibiotics to get my stomach working. But I think that was the last straw for my body and my stomach. And since then, 2 weeks after, yes, I did get better. So I completely felt normal again. I could, you know, walk. I had no energy before. And then in about 2 weeks, I started getting like these like cramps in my stomach. And that's when the first signs started. And then after about 4 weeks, I started getting like this very strong swelling and bloat. And this was first time in my life that I had a bloat that just wouldn't go away. So I would wake up in the morning and I'm like, why am I still bloated? This is weird. You know, when you go to bed, you sometimes can have a bloated stomach. And then in the morning, you would have no belly, like you wouldn't be bloated anymore. That's not normal. It's normal to get occasionally bloated in the evening because, you know, you eat, and sometimes if it's wrong foods now as you age. So I would wake up with a bloated stomach and I'd be like, this looks weird. And then it would happen the next day and the next day. And so I was constantly like swollen, and I felt like I was inflamed. And so I had this pain in my upper abdominal and lower abdominal. So I was like, right, what shall I do? I didn't even have a clue that this was all related. It's only now that I'm, going back into my past and picking up these things like a detective, putting the whole picture together. But back then I was like, I must have eaten something bad again, or I maybe overate. I'm in Bali, I'm on holiday, maybe I had a few drinks, maybe I had some food. So I was like, I'm gonna fast. So this is when I did my 8-day fast. And I've never done an 8-day fast before. I was only going to do 5 days, but I felt actually amazing. So that's why I carried on. And I do have a video on that. If you haven't watched my 8-day water fast 2 years ago, you can watch it. It's a great video, and I think it's definitely inspirational. But the reason why I did it is because I wanted to get rid of that pain and that bloating, because I knew that, because, I fasted in the past, maybe 1 or 2 days, maybe 3. I actually didn't do 3. I think 1 or 2 was my max. And I knew that after day 2, your stomach goes completely flat, especially if you never fasted or you don't fast that much. It literally works straight away. Yeah, so I started fasting, and on day 3, my stomach is still inflamed and bloated. And that's when I was thinking, this is really weird. This is very odd. And so on day 5, when I started to feel like I'm losing weight and water, my stomach was still the same. It was still a bit bloated and I still had the pain. That's when I realized, I was like, hang on, this is really not right anymore. This is weird. Like, why would I still have the pain? And that's the moment when I realized something is really wrong with me. So after day 8, I lost weight. Yes, I have. But I wasn't doing it for weight loss back then as well. Like, I'm not doing it now. It was more for health. Obviously, losing weight is great because of my job. It's probably good for me. Yeah, and so I still had the pain and the bloat. So I went to the doctors in London and I said, look, I have this pain, I have this bloat. They sent me to do the parasite, stool test, and so forth. And that's how my story started. And for those of you who have been following my story for the last 2 years, you know how many procedures I've done. You know how many things I've done. I've literally spent all my money on this. Like, honestly, in the last 2 years, I don't remember spending money on anything else pretty much apart from doctors and procedures and all sorts of experts and everything. So it is really frustrating for me because, it is annoying to waste so much time and spend so much money. Like, I could have bought a lot of clothes, like the amount of clothes I could have bought. This is ridiculous. Or holidays I could have gone to. I don't even want to think about it. But I've never given up, and I think now, now that I see what potentially is wrong, now that we discovered that I have this parasite, now all the pieces are coming together. Now, going back to my test, it does also say that I have dysbiosis. Now, I have been given this diagnosis before, but no one really explained to me exactly what it means. And over here in this test, now it's saying, it's got low levels of bifidobacteria and basically producing friendly bacteria. And also my Akkermansia is low too. And basically all these bacteria help to maintain a healthy gut wall and have anti-inflammatory properties. Now, if that's the case, so basically I don't have enough good guys in my gut. And this is why I'm probably inflaming all the time. I'm still inflamed even now, and I'm fasting again. It's day 3 or 4 now. Okay, and all the other stuff is normal. I don't have candida. So a lot of you thought I have SIBO or candida. Now these reports have confirmed I do not have candida. I do not have SIBO, which actually makes me happy because I feel like those are a lot harder to get rid of and they take a lot longer. And again, so that's why they found a positive result for the parasites. And then the rest of the stuff is fine. They also find elevated calpoprotectin, which is indicating inflammation, again, which 100% goes through with what I'm saying. And then also elevated zonulin, which is indicating a leaky gut. So they're suggesting that potentially I might have a leaky gut. They also said that it's negative for H. pylori, a bacteria that colonizes the stomach, which again is really good news because I was worried that maybe I have H. pylori. And so that's why I'm thinking there's no point now doing colonoscopy and endoscopy, going into serious, procedure and going into anesthesia. So they've given me a whole plan of what to eat for the next 6 to 8 weeks, and they said it's going to take 3 months along with the supplements and what I'm going to eat. I have looked at the plan. I also might get in touch with a nutritionist that also found the same issue with, my stomach. She also mentioned that, which is really interesting. I'm going to open her analysis. She also mentioned dysbiosis of my gut. And she did even more intense, how do you say this, like in-depth, obviously it's blood test. So there's a lot of nutrients that I'm missing, which apparently a lot of humans in general are missing. So a lot of you might be missing these elements as well. So if you're not sure, then do go and get tested yourself. But basically my vitamin B12, it's saying that my hemoglobin level was really low, and I knew that from previous tests, but no one ever told me anything like what to do. She's saying that this is serious, like I need to really really like increase my iron, my protein, my B12. Also she said that B6 is low, basically a lot of B vitamins. Also, going by my blood test, she also saw that there's something wrong potentially with my liver, and I might have stones in my liver and my gallbladder. Now, I did find out in Mexico that I had something wrong with my gallbladder, but apparently it's not digesting the fats, and my liver is not digesting the fats. It's like really slow digestion, which means I'm not getting the right nutrients, I'm not getting the right fats. And basically a lot of the other, blood results showed that I am very, very inflamed. A lot of different inflammations. And last thing that, obviously again, like deficient in magnesium, in folic acid, I think, iron. You see a lot of things. But yeah, basically the first thing she said, we need to fix your gut, because what also they found, which is really upsetting to me, is that one of my hormones, which is an issue with my thyroid, so I need to go and see a doctor as soon as possible next week. But my thyroid, I don't know what's it called in English, but it's this AT-TPO. It's very, very high, which indicates that I might potentially have an autoimmune disease, Hoshimi. I think that's what it's called. But I didn't want to get too stressed about it yet before I see an endocrinologist. I don't know if it's the same word in English, about my thyroid, because that is a very high indicator. But again, the reason why I would have that is because of my gut. So all our issues come from your gut. That's why like 80% of your immune system is in your gut, your microbiome, microflora. So you really need to take care of that before anything else, because once I heal my gut, I feel like everything else is going to heal. So it's just, she told me to see the doctors, and then obviously see the anti-parasite person. And then there's a whole protocol of what I need to do, including my stress level, including my sleep, including the food, including the gadgets, the use of gadgets before and after bed. And then very, very strict food regime. So what I'm seeing is that a lot of them are recommending a low FODMAP diet, but even more extreme, like to really follow it through, or the autoimmune paleo diet. Again, I haven't really I've done a little bit of low FODMAP diet, but I knew that it wasn't that. So now that I kind of know that it's the parasite combination together with my gut, I will probably do the low FODMAP diet. But I'll do the full protocol where it's like a very strict regime for 8 to 12 weeks, and then slowly reintroduce food and see how it works. Yeah. And then, a whole list of things that I should take, all the tablets and supplements that I should go and, work on. But generally, both of these suggestions to me saying to completely exclude all the sugar, all the dairy, all the gluten. So that's what I'm going to do again. but with additional supplements, with additional anti-parasite cleanse. And for some reason, you know, guys, for some reason, I really feel positive. I feel like maybe this is it finally. Like, you know, this is it. I'm going to figure it out. Like, oh, I feel like if after everything, after I take mercury out of my teeth, after I do this full parasite cleanse, after I, you know, do the whole low FODMAP diet and I follow it strictly for the next 3 months, after I really complete all this, I don't see how I could not get better. And if my bloat still is there, then honestly to God, I don't know what I'm going to do. But it's been 2 bloody years. You've been through this journey with me, and if you haven't and you're watching this, then go ahead and do all these tests. Save yourself some time and money. Go ahead and do your, you know, blood and stool test, and just do the anti-parasite cleanse straight away. You might save yourself time, years and years. If you need anything else that I've mentioned here, just let me know in the comments. I'm gonna update obviously you how I'm getting on with my low FODMAP diet, how I'm getting on with my anti-parasite cleansing. I'm gonna probably start like as soon as I'm back. I don't want to delay it because I was thinking maybe I should start when I get back to Mexico or when I kind of have like a full-on normal regime. But I think I'm just gonna slowly start now. And I also have about a week to get out of my fast that I'm doing right now. So there's a lot of going on, and I feel like I really need to take care of my health. But now I feel like I've got some answers. Like, hopefully this is gonna work. So I'm feeling positive, and we'll see what happens. But if you stayed this long, then thank you for watching me. And if you're having issues with your bloat and your gut, don't worry, you're gonna figure it out. Like, just don't give up. I haven't given up, and I'm still haven't reached the conclusion. But if I do with all of this, then guys, at least you know what to do, you know? At least you know. At least you hopefully are watching this and you can try this as well. Anyway, lots of love, guys. Bye.